Below, the carnival sprawled like a grotesque diorama, tents bulging and leaning at impossible angles, colors bleeding into one another like spilled blood. The sky above was a sickly green, unnatural, as if the world itself was twisted, reflecting the rot inside my own soul. A laughter began to grow around me, low at first, a sinister murmur curling through the night. It was the cursed laughter, the cruel soundtrack of this hellish place. Its timbre was mocking, layered with screams and sobs that seemed to rise from some deep, unnameable well of suffering. I pressed my hands against the cold metal of the gondola, knuckles white, eyes scanning the carnival below where shadows writhed and danced in impossible rhythms. The mirrors inside the gondola flickered, their surfaces rippling like disturbed water. Suddenly, the reflections fractured, shards of glass multiplying and twisting until they became a kaleidoscope of memories. Faces appeared, faces I had betrayed, faces twisted in pain and accusation. Their eyes bore into me, silent witnesses to sins I had long tried to bury beneath layers of denial. The fractured reflections felt like shards lodging in my chest, each one a stab of remorse and fear. The air thickened, and from the shadows emerged the ringleader. His figure was tall and impossibly thin, draped in a tattered coat that seemed woven from the night itself. His carnival mask was a grotesque caricature, twisted into a permanent sneer, eyes glowing faintly beneath its surface. He stepped forward with a measured grace, voice low and sharp as broken glass. "You have run long enough," he intoned, each word a blade. "The truth you hide festers beneath your skin. It is time to see yourself as you truly are." I wanted to scream, to turn away, but the weight of his gaze pinned me in place. The gondola rocked gently, the Ferris wheel nearing completion of its full rotation. The cursed laughter swelled, now joined by the manic cackle of the laughing clown, who suddenly appeared at the edge of the gondola. Its face was a grotesque mask of distortion, grin stretched impossibly wide, eyes hollow but burning with cruel amusement. "Remember," the clown hissed, "there is no escape but through the truth." The laughter crescendoed, then abruptly ceased, leaving a suffocating silence that pressed against my eardrums. I was alone with my memories, my sins, and the unbearable weight of what I had done. Images flooded my mind, moments of betrayal so deep they shattered the fragile facade I had worn for years. Faces of those I had wronged, their pain a mirror to my own fractured soul. The realization was a blow that sent me reeling, the carnival around me blurring into a nightmare vision of my own making. The ringleader's voice cut through the tempest inside me once more. "Only by facing this can you hope to break the cycle. Will you accept the truth, or will you deny it until the laughter consumes you?" I felt the walls of my mind tremble. Fear and despair warred with a fragile spark of hope. To deny meant eternal torment. To accept meant unbearable reckoning. The Ferris wheel creaked again, the final descent looming, and with it, the choice that would define my fate. The carnival's cursed laughter echoed faintly as the gondola began its downward turn. The revelation of my darkest sin, a heavy shroud about my shoulders. As the carnival lights flickered and the shadows deepened, I realized that the path ahead was one of pain, but perhaps, just perhaps, also of redemption. And so, as the Ferris wheel turned, I braced myself to face the abyss within, knowing that beyond the pain lay either salvation or oblivion. The night was far from over, and the carnival's sinister game was only just beginning. Every step I took felt like sinking deeper into a mire of shadows and whispered accusations. The cursed laughter was no longer distant. It was inside my ears, clawing, gnashing, a relentless tide eroding my sanity. I stumbled through the maze of tents, their colors bleeding and warping under the flickering lights. The air was thick with the scent of rust and decay, a metallic temps that clung to my throat and burned with every breath. Around me, the carnival twisted grotesquely. The carousel's horses jerked spasmodically, their hollow eyes bleeding shadows. A funnel of distorted mirrors reflected back not my face but fractured glimpses of every failure, every betrayal I'd tried so desperately to bury. The laughter surged, now a cacophony of mocking voices, each one echoing a sin too painful to name aloud. I fell to my knees, hands clutching at the dirt-streaked ground, fighting against the rising tide of despair. The cursed laughter was a living thing, a predator circling patiently, savoring my torment. It whispered cruel taunts, dredging up memories I'd fled for years, the faces I'd hurt, the promises I'd broken, the love I'd betrayed. Then, through the madness, a figure emerged, pale, serene, silver hair shimmering faintly even in the dim light. Myra. Her presence was inexplicably calming, a fragile lantern in the suffocating darkness. She did not speak, but her eyes held an unyielding compassion. She raised a hand, a silent invitation to stand and face the storm rather than flee. The laughing clown appeared then, stepping out from the shadows with a grin so wide it seemed to split its face in two. Its hollow eyes gleamed with cruel delight as it circled me, its laughter ringing out like a death knell. The sound was 1,000 knives scraping bone. It mocked every ounce of hope I had left. Come now, it seemed to say, there's nowhere to run. I wanted to scream, to bolt away into the endless dark beyond the carnival's reach. But the laughter was inside me now, inside my blood and bones, a relentless reminder that the sins I carried were not specters to evade, but truths to confront. I collapsed fully, my body trembling, tears streaming down my face, mixing with the grime and sweat. The cursed laughter twisted, warping into a mournful wail that echoed the breaking of my last defenses. In that terrible moment, I stood at a precipice, surrender to the endless torment, or gathered the shattered pieces of my soul and face what I had done. The carnival's nightmarish landscape pulsed around me, alive with judgment and despair. Yet beneath the crushing weight of punishment, a faint ember of something unspoken lingered, a possibility that perhaps this hell was not merely a prison, but a crucible for transformation. I clenched my fists, the dirt beneath my nails grounding me. The choice was mine. To run was to drown in cursed laughter forever. To stay was to walk through fire and confront the darkness within. And so, with ragged breath and haunted eyes, I rose. The breaking point was not an end, but a beginning, a threshold beyond which true reckoning awaited. The carnival seemed to hold its breath, the cursed laughter pausing for a heartbeat as if to acknowledge the shift. Somewhere, Mira's faint smile flickered, a fragile beacon in the encroaching night. I stepped forward, bearing the unbearable weight of my sins, ready to face the reckoning that would decide my fate. But even as I moved, the echoes of laughter whispered behind me, a reminder that the road ahead would be long, and the carnival's grip unyielding. Yet, amid this relentless storm of torment, a sudden stillness enveloped the space before me. It was as if time itself had hesitated. There she stood, Myra. Her pale figure emerged from the shadows, silver hair shimmering faintly in the flickering light of a nearby lantern. Her eyes, calm and steady, held no trace of the horrors that haunted this place. Instead, they reflected a quiet understanding, a fragile beacon of solace against the carnivalesque nightmare. I stumbled toward her, my heart pounding in a desperate rhythm. "Myra," I whispered, voice cracking under the weight of everything unsaid, everything buried. She offered a faint, enigmatic smile. You're closer than you know, but the path ahead, it will demand more than endurance. It will ask you to lay bare every fragment of your guilt, every shadow you've tried to bury. Her words were cryptic, yet they resonated deep within me. The carnival's twisted Horus faces morphing in the hall of mirrors. The mocking laughter of the clown felt momentarily distant, as though her presence carved out a sanctuary from the madness. How, I asked, my voice barely audible. How can I face what I've done without breaking completely? Myra's gaze softened, but her resolve was unyielding. To escape this place, you must stop running. You must embrace the guilt, not as a chain, but as a key. Only then will the laughter lose its teeth. I swallowed hard, the truth of her words settling like cold ash in my chest. The thought of surrendering fully to my guilt was terrifying, like stepping into the maw of a beast I'd spent years avoiding. But the alternative, the endless torment of denial, was no less cruel. Around us, the carnival breathed, lights flickering, shadows dancing grotesquely, the laughter swelling once again. Yet Myra's calm presence anchored me, a fragile lifeline in this sea of despair. You're not alone, she whispered, reaching out to clasp my trembling hands. Her touch was cool, steady, grounding. I've walked this path. Partial peace is possible, but it requires the courage to confront the darkest parts of yourself. I nodded, feeling a swell of determination amidst the fear. I'm ready to try. She smiled, a flicker of hope amid the gloom. Then listen well, for your journey is just beginning. The carnival will test you, push you to the brink. But remember, acceptance is your shield, forgiveness your salvation. As she spoke, the carnival's twisted visage seemed to waver, the cursed laughter dipping into a subdued echo. Her form began to dissolve into the mist, a whisper fading into the night. Remember, her voice lingered, the only way off the Ferris wheel is through the reckoning within. I stood alone once more, the weight of her words settling over me like a mantle. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but for the first time, a sliver of hope pierced the darkness. Embracing my guilt was no longer a choice. It was the only way to silence the cursed laughter and reclaim my soul. The carnival's nightmarish symphony resumed, louder than ever. But I felt a strange calm within the chaos, a fragile resolve to face the abyss, to seek forgiveness, not just from those I had wronged, but from myself. As the mist thickened and the carnival's grotesque lights flickered ominously, I took a deep breath and stepped forward. Into the next chapter of my torment and, perhaps, my redemption. The Ferris wheel loomed ahead, its carriages creaking ominously in the night breeze. This ride, I knew, would be unlike any before, but I no longer feared it as I once did. I was beginning to understand that true escape demanded surrender, surrender to truth, to pain, and ultimately to forgiveness. The cursed laughter echoed around me once more, but this time it sounded different, less mocking, more sorrowful, as if the carnival itself was acknowledging the first tremors of my reckoning. I climbed into the carriage, heart pounding, eyes fixed on the horizon where darkness and dawn danced in uncertain balance. The wheel began to turn, and with it, the journey inward continued. The night air was thick with the scent of popcorn and rust, but beneath it lay something fouler, the metallic temps of fear and regret. Each step I took toward the Ferris wheel was heavy with the weight of every sin I had ever tried to hide. Yet Myra's words echoed in my mind, a mantra against the despair. Embrace your guilt, find the key within. The carnival workers, once faceless and cruel, seemed to blur at the edges, their shadows stretching like fingers reaching for my resolve. But Myra's calm had planted a seed of courage I had never known I possessed. In the distance, the laughing clown's grin flickered like a broken neon sign, a reminder of the torment yet to come. But for the first time, I felt ready to face it. The reckoning was no longer a distant threat. It was here, inside me, waiting to be met with open eyes and an unflinching heart. The Ferris wheel creaked again, the chains groaning under the weight of the night. The cursed laughter ebbed and flowed, a tide I was learning to navigate rather than drown in. Myra was gone, but her guidance remained, a fragile light in the carnival's endless night. I would carry it with me into the darkness, into the silence between the cursed echoes. I gripped the cold metal of the carriage, steeling myself for the next turn, the next revelation. The journey was far from over, but with Myra's last guidance as my compass, I was no longer lost. The Ferris wheel spun on, turning my past into a crucible, my guilt into a path. And somewhere in that terrible, beautiful turning, I would find the strength to confront the truth, or be consumed by the cursed laughter forever. The ride began anew, the carnival's horrors awaiting, but I was ready now, ready to face the abyss, ready to seek the forgiveness I had long denied myself. The reckoning had begun. The shrill echoes of cursed laughter that had once clawed at my sanity now softened into a distant, sorrowful hum that wrapped around me like a cold but gentle shroud. I found myself drawn to a small clearing where shards of shattered mirrors spread across the ground, catching the flickering light of a sputtering lamp. Each fragment reflected a fractured piece of myself, distorted, fragmented, yet undeniably mine. I sank to my knees among the broken glass, hands trembling as I reached out to touch a shard that held my haunted eyes within its cracked surface. The weight of years of denial pressed down on me, and for the first time since arriving at this cursed carnival, I did not flinch. Instead, I swallowed the bitter taste of my own remorse and whispered, "I see you, all of you." A soft, sorrowful laughter echoed through the clearing, not the cruel mockery that had tormented me relentlessly, but a sound tinged with mourning. It was as if the carnival itself was acknowledging my fragile step toward acceptance. My breath hitched, and a tear traced a cold path down my cheek, the release of emotion both terrifying and strangely liberating. From the shadows, Myra emerged quietly, her silver hair shimmering faintly as she moved with a calm certainty that contrasted with my turmoil. She knelt beside me, her pale hand reaching out to rest gently on my shoulder. "It is the first step," she said softly, her voice a soothing balm against the harshness of the carnival's nightmare. "To face what you have hidden, without flinching, is to begin to free yourself." Her words settled over me like a fragile hope, fragile yet persistent. The carnival's twisted forms seemed to shrink back, the oppressive shadows retreating just enough to let a flicker of light through. I dared to look up, meeting Mira's steady gaze, and found strength in her presence, a beacon in the suffocating darkness. Watching us from a distance, the ringleader remained an imposing silhouette, his twisted carnival mask catching the faint glow of the lantern light. His eyes, glowing faintly beneath the mask, held an inscrutable expression. There was no warmth, no cruelty, only the weight of judgment and the unyielding duty he bore. Yet, in that moment, something unspoken passed between us, as if he acknowledged the sincerity of my acceptance, even if he could not grant mercy. Suddenly, a familiar, unsettling figure flickered at the edge of my vision, the laughing clown, but this time, its exaggerated grin softened into a mournful expression, the hollow eyes shimmering with something akin to sorrow. The clown's laughter, once a piercing torment, transformed into a lament, a mournful echo that seemed to mourn my pain rather than mock it. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the clown faded away into the shadows, leaving behind a silence that felt both heavy and strangely freeing. I breathed deeply, the air tasting faintly of rust and old cotton candy, the carnival's scent mingling with the sharp temps of my own awakening. The internal battle waged within me was far from over, but I had crossed a threshold. The punishment was no longer an external torment to be endured, but an internal reckoning to be faced. I accepted, I whispered, voice trembling but resolute. All of it. Mira squeezed my shoulder gently and smiled, a rare, genuine smile that illuminated the gloom. Then you are ready, she said. But remember, acceptance is just the beginning. Forgiveness, the true release, must follow. Her words hung in the air as the carnival around us seemed to hold its breath. The cursed laughter had changed, the mocking echo fading into a sorrowful hymn. The carnival, once a prison of relentless torment, now felt like a crucible where my soul was being forged anew. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with pain and fear, but for the first time, I glimpsed a fragile glimmer of hope beyond the cursed carnival's dark gates. I rose slowly, eyes still haunted but clearer than before. The reckoning had begun, not as a punishment to avoid, but as a truth to embrace. The carnival's nightmare was far from over, but my own journey through it had taken a vital turn. The cursed laughter, once my enemy, now seemed a sorrowful companion, mourning not just my sins, but my suffering and the faint promise of redemption. With each step away from the shattered mirrors, the carnival's twisted forms shifted subtly, the grotesque shapes and warped lights less menacing, more mournful. The Ferris wheel in the distance creaked softly in the night air, turning slowly, a silent reminder of the burden I carried and the reckoning yet to come. I knew the road ahead would test me beyond anything I had endured, that the ringleader's judgment was not yet complete, and the laughing clown's torment might return in new guises. But for now, in this fleeting moment between despair and hope, I allowed myself to feel the sorrow of my guilt and the fragile light of acceptance. The carnival was a reflection of my soul's torment, and as I faced its darkest whispers, I realized that only through this unbearable reckoning could I hope to find the mercy I so desperately sought. The cursed laughter still echoed, but it had changed. It was no longer a cruel mockery, but a mournful song of penance, a haunting melody that would accompany me toward whatever awaited beyond this forsaken carnival. And as I stepped forward, the shadows seemed to part just enough for me to glimpse the faintest glimmer of dawn on the horizon. But the journey was far from over. The carnival was waiting, and so was the ringleader. The silent question remained: could I truly forgive myself? And if I could, would the carnival finally release its hold on me? The cursed laughter, now a sorrowful dirge, whispered its haunting answer as the night deepened around me. His figure was immense, draped in shadows that swallowed the flickering lights around us. The twisted carnival mask he wore was grotesque, a carnival of horrors itself. One moment, it stretched into a cruel grin. The next, it contorted into a grimace of profound sorrow. Beneath that mask, his eyes glowed faintly, not with malice, but with an ancient, weary light that unsettled me more than any scream or shriek I had heard in this accursed place. I swallowed, my breath shallow. The cursed laughter that had haunted me since my arrival, now a distant echo, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed against my chest. The ringleader spoke, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through the ground beneath my feet. You see me as a judge, a tormentor, a harbinger of your doom, he said, each word weighted with the gravity of ages. But I am bound by duty, a tether to the collective guilt of those who wander these grounds. Not evil, not mercy, but the balance between both. His words struck a chord deep within me, unraveling the black and white morality I had clung to in my desperate hope for escape. This was no simple villain. He was a complex force, an embodiment of humanity's collective conscience twisted into form. The carnival itself pulsed with his presence, a manifestation not just of punishment but of judgment that was neither cruel nor kind. As I grappled with this revelation, a pale figure emerged from the gloom mirror. Her silver hair shimmered faintly in the dim carnival light, and her eyes held a calm I had not felt in this place. She stepped beside me, her voice barely above a whisper. "He is bound," she said, "not by choice, but by the weight of countless sins. His punishment is as eternal as ours." Her words offered a fragile hope, a thin thread of understanding in this labyrinth of torment. I looked back at the ringleader, who now seemed less a monster and more a sentinel, a guardian of the moral abyss. His mask shifted again, and for a fleeting moment, I glimpsed eyes heavy with sorrow, tired of the endless cycle of judgment he was forced to enforce. "Why do you persist?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Is there no mercy for you? No respite from this endless duty?" He tilted his head, the movement slow, deliberate. "Mercy is a fragile thing," he replied. "I am the reckoning. Without me, the guilty would wander unchecked, lost in denial and delusion. My existence is a reminder, a warning. But within this duty lies a torment as profound as yours." The carnival around us seemed to waver, the grotesque rides and twisted games blurring at the edges as my mind wrestled with this newfound complexity. The ringleader was no mere antagonist. He was a symbol of the inescapable nature of guilt and the intricate dance between punishment and redemption. Mira's presence grounded me as I absorbed the weight of his words. "You must understand," she said softly, "that to face him is to face the truth within yourself. He holds a mirror not just to your sins, but to the cost of judgment itself." A shiver ran down my spine as the cursed laughter returned, but now it carried a different timbre, less mocking, more mournful. The carnival was no longer just a place of torment. It was a crucible, testing the limits of my soul and my capacity to accept the full spectrum of guilt, judgment, and the possibility of mercy. I took a tentative step forward, eyes locked on the ringleader's glowing gaze. "If you are bound by duty," I said, "then perhaps there is a path for me to a way to bear my guilt without being consumed by it." He inclined his head once more, a gesture that felt almost like acknowledgement. "The path is narrow and fraught with peril," he warned, "but it begins with acceptance. Will you walk it?" The carnival's shadows stretched longer, the air thick with anticipation. My heart hammered in my chest as I realized this moment marked a turning point, not just in my torment, but in the story I was becoming a part of. The ringleader was not my enemy, but a guide to the darkest corridors of my own soul. As I prepared to take that first step toward reckoning, Mira's hand brushed my arm, a gentle reminder that I was not alone. The carnival awaited, its cursed laughter now a haunting melody underscoring the fragile hope that flickered within me. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, I saw the ringleader's true nature, not as a monster to be feared, but as a necessary part of the path to redemption. And with that understanding, I felt a sliver of strength piercing the veil of despair. The carnival's nightmare was changing, and so was I. But as the shadows deepened and the cursed laughter echoed anew, I knew that the hardest trials were still ahead. Could I truly embrace the judgment he embodied and find mercy within it? The answer would decide not just my fate, but the shape of the soul I would carry beyond this cursed place.